Hey, how's it going? Today I'm going to be showcasing some tools that we can use for cybersecurity, and we're sort of going through an environment where we're doing some brute forcing of a web form. Now that's important because when we're dealing with a web form, there's some kind of data that we're going to be sending to our web server to, on that back end, authenticate. A really popular tool to use is Hydra. That's a very common tool for brute forcing, SSH, FTP. We can use it for web forms. In this video, I'm not going to be showing Hydra. It's a good tool and it's great for brute forcing, but there are some limitations when it comes to web forms. This is just my opinion. And I'm going to be showcasing a little bit of how we can use Burp. That's the de facto choice here in cyberspace, where we use it for all kinds of things cyber. And for the most part, Burp is actually really, really good. But when it comes to brute forcing with a sniper attack, it's actually not as good. There's another tool out there, and this is not a popular opinion. Don't click away yet, because it is ZAP. I enjoy ZAP. There's a number of us out there that do like it. What I'd like to show you is sort of like a side-by-side of Burp doing a brute force compared to ZAP doing a brute force. Where ZAP is weak, Burp is strong. And where Burp is weak, ZAP is strong. And I really feel like we should be including both of these tools into our toolboxes, and it can make us such a stronger cyber professional. Another tool we're going to be using, as opposed to Hydra, is actually WFUZZ. It's actually really, really good, and you should get used to using it. And I'm using it in 2 instances on the web form that I've got prepped here, and it does a great job. I've actually created or modified a CTF machine that has a known password that is about number 4000 in the RockU file. It's a very popular word list in the cyberspace as well, because I wanted to see and compare the different tools to a known input that I know where the password is. This is helpful for testing tools to see what's the difference. And you'll see the difference a little bit, and I'll talk about it. Let's dive into our first tool. We're going to run Burp Suite and see how fast it goes. So what we're going to do first here is that we're actually going to open up Burp Suite and wait for that to load. I'm probably going to skip through the loading process here. But then once that's up, we're going to go through the process. And what I would like you to see is the speed at which Burp goes through its brute forcing of our login form. We've got our Burp Suite opened up. I'm going to head on over to Proxy here, and I'm going to open up the browser here, and I want to copy this, target, head over to Burp Suite, and we're going to put this in here and hit enter. So we should see at this point, if we go back to our proxy here, the HTTP history. Now I've got a GET request here. What we need to do is actually send some data to our server here. So in this case, I actually know that the user is admin, and I'm going to do test1 as my traffic. It's going to fail because that's definitely not the password. And over here we can see right away we've got a post. Let's go into here and open up that. And Burp Suite's nice. You get all this good stuff. This is important here. This is really important for our other tools that we're going to be using. But what I want to do is actually brute force this web form. So I'm going to actually right click on this, and we're going to send it to the intruder. Now we've sent it to the intruder. We're going to go to the intruder tab, and we are going to choose, well, in this case, it's actually sniper attack. We have all other options, but the one that we need right now is just this sniper attack. I would like to look at our submission stuff that we've got down here. So now username, we're going to stick with admin because I know that's the right one. And we're going to double click on this, and we are going to add a payload position. You can see it's got the symbols beside it. And so that means that when we're iterating through this brute force, we are going to be at that point injecting a new item on every single iteration at that point. So let's go and we're going to choose a payload. So I want a simple list, which is great. And the item is going to be a load. And from here, we're actually going to navigate to whatever the list it is. I'm going to be using RockU because I created it so that it had that vulnerability. And it's number 4000 on this list. And we have the list selected. We've got our injection point there. And we are actually ready to start the attack. So we go on up to the top here and we're going to start the attack. So once you get your intruder working, you're going to be seeing that your burp suite is sort of plodding along through our word list here and sending requests, but it's not super efficient. And that is because burp suite's throttled. Now I know this is not the most popular opinion of burp suite, but it is a legitimate challenge with this particular tool. Now you might be saying, well, there's other tools that we can use. And yes, that is definitely true when it comes to doing brute force with tools. I'm actually not going to sit through all 4,000 requests because we're only at 53. With the other tools, we would have been at about 1,000, 2,000 requests already, and we're at 57. So I'm not even going to finish with burp suite. But if you do like using burp for brute forcing, that's how you would do a very basic sniper attack using burp suite. Now I'm going to close down burp and I'm going to open up our next tool, which is an unsung hero in the cyberspace. And it's also, there's some strong opinions around this one too, but turns out it's going to be ZAP. So we're going to discard that. Kill burp. And so you saw me, I didn't even finish burp. Let's go ahead and power up Z attack proxy. Let that thing load. I've got my ZAP opened up here. I do need to point my browser to my Z attack proxy. So I'm going to go to settings, head over to network. And I'm going to choose manual because I've already got it configured to go through my ZAP here. So I'll say, okay, I like that. And I'm going to open this up. And I might actually shrink this a little bit so we can see some of the work that's going on. We are going to, now it's set there, we're going to navigate there. So we'll refresh the page. We should see it pop up here. Beautiful. And we've seeded ZAP. But now I need to actually put something in there. So just like we did before with burp, I'm going to send something over there. So I know admin is the name that I want. And I'm going to send it test1. And it's going to fail. And that is okay. We want it to fail here. So good. That post should be inside of ZAP here. And if you look at the bottom of your screen here, we can actually see that post there. Now, in burp, you would right click and send to intruder. In this case, we're actually going to right click and we're going to go over to attack and we're going to fuzz this post. So we got our window open here and it looks very similar. So remember how I said in burp, we want to keep this? We do. So I would save this into a text file because we're going to actually use that with our terminal tool in a bit. But I'm also going to show you how to get this information without using a proxy as well. Now, I don't have the injection point set. I'm going to double click on the injection point that I want to set. And we're going to click on add. And from here, you're going to choose what kind of payload are we doing. I want to do a simple word list again. So we're going to add, and we're going to go to our file, and we have to choose the specific file. So here I'm going to navigate over to the RockU file. Word lists and RockU. Bingo bango, and add that to our payload, and we're going to hit OK. So we've got our injection, we've chosen the payload, and now we're going to hit start fuzzer. Let's do it. Start that fuzzer. I'm going to expand. Now I hope you can see on the screen right away that we're actually flying through this. We're at 300, 400 now, and that's within like 2-3 seconds. And Burp was struggling. I never even got to 100 before I decided there was enough is enough. I'm actually going to let this go all the way to 4,000 because that's where the actual password is in the RockU file. As we are getting closer to that 4,000 mark, and honestly we haven't really been at it that long here, I want you to also take a note that the size response body is staying the same. That means that these are all failed responses. If we get a successful combination, we should see a change in the size response body because there's a different words on that screen, or we're being redirected in some fashion. So it should look different. We're about 3,500, 36. And right about here, we're going to see a change. Boom. I don't know if you saw that. What we're going to do is we're going to go to our size response even while we're still scanning, and we're going to click on the size response body. We got up, we got down, and we should see right over here that the password is in fact summertime. Boom. So we can actually turn this off. And if we were to log in, we would see the username of admin is correct, and then the password is summertime. This is great, and it was incredibly fast. This is one of the powers of ZAP that makes me really like the tool. Let's go on, and I'm going to show you another tool that is not Hydra. Hydra is a very popular tool in cyber for doing brute forcing, and you can use Hydra on web forms like we have over here. There is, though, a bit of a limitation to Hydra, and I'm going to show you a tool in a moment here that shines above Hydra when it comes to brute forcing web forms. The tool that we're going to be talking about is WFUZZ. I really like it. It's a fuzzing tool, and you can actually tailor make your terminal command to give you quite a bit of information, actually. One thing we're going to do first, though, we're going to role play here that I didn't use a proxy to grab information about this particular web form. I want to go and tackle proving that summertime is the password without using a proxy at all. What we need to do is actually we're going to right click on our web form here, and we're going to go to inspect. Now I like Firefox because, especially for cyber stuff, because it opens up this nice options here. We can go in and manipulate all kinds of stuff, but we're going to go over to network. And right now you don't see anything. That's because I haven't sent anything through. So we're going to do admin, and we're also going to be doing our test password. So it's going to be test2. And we're going to hit submit. We're going to see something happening down here. Boom. Right away, we've got our post. Great. Let's open up that post and see what's all involved. Okay, yep, we got our headers. Let's go over to request. Now remember, this is the stuff that I sent to that server to try to authenticate, and it failed. Let's go and look at raw. This is the information that we're going to need to give to WFUZZ so that it can actually go about the process of actually fuzzing. Notice that it also looks the exact same that we saw in Burp Suite and in ZAP. Because those are just proxies, and they're just sending this exact same thing. What we're going to do is actually we're going to copy this, and we're going to save it in a file. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and set up WFUZZ so that it will do what we want it to do. Let's go ahead. So WFUZZ, and I actually have it queued up here, which is great. So let's talk a little bit about each of these items here. So when I call WFUZZ, I'm going to use W or -C, that just colorizes it. -Z is going to be specifying our payload. So I'm going to be sending it a file, comma, and then specifically the location of the file there. I mean, that's it. That's our basic Kali RockU file. The URL that's going to be sending it to is right here. If you compare that over here, it looks the exact same. Okay, so we got to make sure that you're sending it to the right location. And the post data that's getting sent to it is going to be our string that we saved from our browser here. Look, it looks exactly the same. So we're going to do username, admin, and password. And notice here that I've got FUZZ and login submit. So specifically, we're actually going to be putting where this word fuzz is. We're going to be looping through every item in this word list and then sending that request to our web form here. I also want to modify the string just a little bit because there's some things that we can do that are super handy. So remember how we saw in ZAP where we had a redirect here? So I can actually only show the instances where 302 or 301 occur. We're ready to rock. So let's actually launch this WFUZZ against our target here. And you can see on the screen that now the payloads that are being sent, we're currently at like 400, 500 now. So like comparing this to the sniper attack and burp, we're way ahead. And I speculate that we're actually on par with ZAP as well. We'll let that get to 4,000 because that's the point in time when we see the 302 and the 301. Awesome. You can even see that we actually went past it, and it just part of the processing that took time for it to get to my screen here. But you can see that summertime is the password, and that we were actually redirected over to the next part of the page. I'm going to actually kill this because I got my password. Great. But that's not it. WFUZZ has some other key things. Remember in ZAP how we saw that there was a response size difference? Well, let's do that with WFUZZ. Prior to this, we looked for redirects, but let's do it based off of the file size. Now, let's pretend here that I didn't use a proxy, so I couldn't see that response size. We would need to determine that before progressing with our WFUZZ command here. We can actually do that with a super handy tool called curl, and I've got it loaded up here as well, which is super handy. But we are going to curl and send a post to the same thing that we did before at that same URL. So this is the post data, and then this is the URL that's going to get sent to. And we send it there, and we should go up to the header and see the response size. Yeah, there we go, content length. So 4595 is the number that we need. So what we want to do is include this number into our WFUZZ and watch for anything that is not that. So you got to be careful here because this could give you some false positives. But in this case, with this particular web form, it actually works quite nicely in that all the failed attempts end up being that length. So that's great. So anything different than that is going to be working. 4595 is the number. So we're going to do this, and we're going to change this from SC to HH and 4595. We're all queued up. Everything in here is going to stay the same. We're just changing what we're looking for. So anything that isn't 4595. Launch it and then wait for WFUZZ to load, and then it's going to do its thing. It's already blasted through close to 400 requests, so if I gotta wait 20 seconds for it to load up, then whatever. We've gone past it, and that's okay because we're still processing. Boom. So we got it there. So I'm going to kill our WFUZZ, and we were matching on characters that weren't 4-5 or size that wasn't 4595. Bingo bango, like that one's 0. So that definitely matches what we're looking for. And again, we're proving that our password is summertime. Great. All right, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I just wanted to bring to people's attention that there's more tools than just Hydra that can do brute forcing. There's more functionality out there than just Burp Suite to do some of these tasks. I mean, add all of these tools to your toolbox and utilize the strengths of each of them, and you're only going to be better as a cyber professional. All right, I'll talk to you folks later. Have a great day. See ya.